Hello Internet, my name is Hazel from Hazelnutty Games. It is almost Saturday, so welcome to vlog time. This last week we had the beginning and the first week of Diablo 3 Season 2. I spent quite a bit of time in that and it was pretty fun. Where I'm at right now with that is that my hands really hurt. It's a very mouse-heavy game, so my hands really hurt and my sanity needs a break. All of my friends got their gear a lot faster than I did, and they're better than I am too, but I'm very behind and my hands hurt, so I'm taking a break from that. I don't know if I'm completely done for the season, but I'm definitely going to step back from it for a week or so. We've got 6.1 coming up pretty soon, so I'm going to focus on that, I think, for now. And I might come back to it. It's a fun little game. They're already working on some neat adjustments for 2.2, which is the next Reaper of Souls patch. So maybe that'll be a good time to go back to it. I don't know. We'll see. As I'm speaking of 6.1, it was officially announced with a launch trailer. It was officially announced for next Tuesday, the 24th of what are we in? February. And that's pretty. It would be exciting if more was going on, honestly. The launch trailer was funny because in the past, I remember when they announced 4.3, it was the Rise of the Zandalari, and everybody hated that patch because all we were getting were 2 troll dungeons, and people for some reason don't like troll instances. I don't know, I think they're cool. But we got the coolest trailer, and with big trolls, and those dungeons were fantastic. The redone Zolomon and Zul'Gurub that we got in Cataclysm, they were great. And, you know, that was just a really exciting patch with a story and things going on. In this patch, it doesn't really have a story or things going on. They're adding a bunch of features that we kind of thought we would get with the Warlords launch that we didn't. Things like Blood Elf models, things like the Heirloom tab. And it's adding a couple new little things that are going to be neat, and I'm excited that it's happening, but I'm not, super stoked. I hope that 6.2 is not too far behind and that has some neat stuff, but it's going to be a while before we start hearing about that. So we are getting Twitter integration. I know a lot of people are pretty upset about Twitter integration because a lot of people don't use Twitter, and they look at this feature and how hugely Blizzard's promoting it right now. They're putting a little too much PR into this Twitter thing. And they're like, this isn't my World of Warcraft. I don't want no tweeting. And I'm fine with it. I don't think it really took them that much time to put together. I looked at it on the PTR and it's not a gigantic feature, really. I may or may not use it. It's not that hard to tweet just from normal Twitter. But we'll see. It's fine. It's not super exciting. I think the selfie stick toy is actually super cute. I'll try to resist spraying the internet with selfies of my own characters, but I will probably keep a folder of them for myself. And then, yeah, you know, we're getting some model updates. We're getting the Blood Elf models, and I think the male new Blood Elf models at this point in the PTR, the males look really good. I don't like the females. There's something just off about them. The hair is either too textured or the color, it's got too many color differentiations in it. It looks kind of like it's a plastic helmet on them. It still moves. And the models are updated. And I guess they look better, but I don't know. I don't like the new Blood Elf females. I hope that they revisit that at some point, like they're doing now with the dwarf females. Speaking of whom, I went and checked them again today because I have this habit of just logging onto the PTR and going and, you know, ogling the new dwarf female faces because I want them really bad. And I compared them to that video that I put out of the dwarf female face updates, and they've adjusted them even more. They backed off of the eyeliner a little bit, a little teeny tiny bit, and I think it actually works out to be better. They're not quite as drastically changed from the originals as they were in the update video, but I think they look, I wasn't sure about it at first, but after staring at them for a little bit too long, I think they look better in this final form. So it'll be out on Tuesday. We can all see what we think, and I still think it's a huge update over the dwarf female faces that we've got going on now, so that's exciting. What else happened this week? The Blackrock Foundry. They released a Raid Finder wing, the first couple bosses. I have not tried that yet, because on my main, our guild Carbon is 7 of 10 heroic now, I think. 7 of 10. I know that we're 9 of 10. We're 9 of 10 normal, and I think we're either 7 or 8 of 10 heroic. I kind of lose track of how many bosses there are and which ones are which, because we do them in a different order every week or something, so we'll see. But I haven't needed to do it on my priest, my Shadow Priest, and I have so many other alts now. I don't really know what I want to play. I just finished, this morning I just finished getting my Warlock to level 100. She'd been level 99 for like ever. And I just dinged her to level 100 and I got her some transmog. And then I sat and looked at my loading screen being like, man, I should try out BRF Raid Finder on an alt. You know, keep at least one of these alts geared up, you know, just to have one. I don't have to play them all, but one would be good. And I have 7 100s now and it's too many. It stresses me out. So I haven't done it yet. I kind of think I'm just going to finish leveling this dwarf priest that I'm working on and just have 2 priests and then just say I play priests and I'm commit to that because I really like priests. I really like priest healing. Dis is cool. Holy is like my jam. And Shadow Priest has turned out to be really, really fun for me. So I think I might just do that. I finally got my weak aura sorted out. I had been using in the past on my Shadow Priest, there's an add-on that like Shadow Priest dot timers that tracked my Mind Blast cooldown and my dot timers and whatever. But it would only track dot timers for one target, and it was fine, but it wasn't the best. So what I did was I got rid of that, and then I found myself a group of custom weak auras that I kind of put together and shuffled together into a little grid. And I'm really happy with how it turned out. It looks super cool, and it gets me the information I need to be better much more quickly. So I'm very excited for that, and I'm very excited for next week's raid because it'll be post 6.1. I can try out the changes. So, on the topic of that, for a question, Robert wanted to know if I would mind going over the changes coming to Shadow Priest in patch 6.1. So my original plan for this was to make a video. Before Warlords came out, I did a couple of videos going over all of the changes to the classes then. This one probably could stand to be a little bit shorter because there's not nearly as many changes to Shadow Priest between 6.0 and 6.1 as there were at the beginning of Warlords of Draenor. But it's, you know, right now it's Friday and the patch comes out on Tuesday and I'm not 100% sure that I'm going to get around to it. So, whoa. My webcam's perched to my monitors, and my monitors, they're great, but they're a little bit wobbly, so if I touch my desk, it goes, ah! Sorry. What's up, bud? We were having a conversation. It was about Shadow Priest. I was saying that right now it's Friday, the patch is on Tuesday, and I don't know for sure if I'm going to get a video together between now and then. I'm going to try. But just in case I drop the ball and don't do a Shadow Priest changes update video between now and Tuesday, I'm just going to go over the changes right now, and we can talk about them a little bit. And then I would love to know what any of you Shadow Priests in the comments think. I know there's got to be a couple of you. I'm going to be looking at this mostly from the perspective of somebody that raids as a Shadow Priest PvE, but a couple of these changes do also pertain to PvP, which is something I'm stepping into very slowly on my Priest. Having an extra gear set clogs up my bags, but we're getting there. All right, so we'll start with the changes to the level 100 talents. So as you probably know right now, if you were a Shadow Priest raiding in Highmaul, I can almost guarantee that you were using Clarity of Power. Clarity of Power made your Mind Blast instant cast and shortened the cooldown on it, and it basically turned our rotation into Mind Spikes and Mind Blasts, sometimes dot weaving with the right rotation if you have enough time, and then just keeping dots up on off target. So that was fine, but there was no choice. The other level 100 talents, which are Auspicious Spirits and Void Entropy, did not get touched. They did not do anywhere close to the amount of damage. And I was really disappointed by that because when Warlords launched, I really wanted to use Auspicious Spirits. I didn't want to change to this crazy new Clarity of Power rotation. I wanted to use my same old rotation that I had from Pandaria, but get all these crazy extra shadow orbs from all of these spirits. So Auspicious Spirits and Void Entropy are both receiving big buffs. The buff to Void Entropy, which is just another dot that you can put on a target by consuming shadow orbs. It's a very long duration dot. It is having its damage increased by 80%. So it will be doing 80% more damage on Tuesday than it does right now. And I'm not a mathy kind of person. I don't do simcraft. I let other people do theory crafting and actual ability, you know, the mathy stuff. So we'll see if that turns into being worth using, and if so, on which fights it will be. I don't think that's going to be that complicated to weave into a regular vanilla Shadow Priest style rotation, and I think it's probably worth doing. It might find its niche on 1 and 2 boss fights. I feel like it would get out of hand on something like Iron Maidens, but it might be a cool idea for like Gruul. So Void Entropy buffed by 80%, and then Auspicious Spirits on live. What Auspicious Spirits does is it causes your Auspicious Spirits, little purple floaty things that you spit out of your chest, to no longer cause damage but give you a shadow ward. And what's happening in 6.1 is that instead they will cause 200% damage, so they're getting a big damage buff instead of having that completely axed, in addition to giving you shadow orbs. So the idea there is this is probably going to be the go-to talent for most of Blackrock Foundry, because the thing that causes Auspicious Spirits to proc is, as far as I know, and I haven't looked this up recently, but as far as I know, it's crits. It's dot crits. So if you're in like a blast furnace and you have your dots up on 5 or 6 different targets, because you know there's flame collars and stuff going on, and you have stacked crit, like you enchant crit, you get a crit enchant for your weapon, you gem crit, you pick out crit gear when you're rolling for stuff, that is going to give you buckets of shadow orbs for extra devouring plagues, and it's going to give you extra damage too, because all of those Auspicious Spirits are now going to be doing 200% damage. So that's the way that it's looking like it's going to go. Some people who have their Blackrock Foundry tier set bonuses are already there. They're already gemming crit. They're already out trying out Auspicious Spirits, because for multi-target fights like Blast Furnace and, you know, the spears on Darmak, and I'm sure there's other fights, it is better damage right now, and it's receiving a huge buff in 6.1. So that's going to be the way to go for most things. I'm not sure exactly where Clarity of Power is going to fit in after 6.1. We'll see. It still may be a better choice for a single target, but we'll see how Void Entropy works out. So those are the biggest changes. There are a couple of other ones, and they all pretty much work out to be buffs. So Divine Star, which is that thing that nobody uses because everybody uses Halo, it puts a little, like, it's kind of like if you play a MOBA and you have one of those characters that throws like a boomerang out in front of them and it comes back. It does that. So Divine Star is having its damage buffed by 20%, which may or may not make it less useless. I think it's still kind of crap, but we'll see. Especially if you're in a situation where there's a bunch of ads that are very much grouped up in front of you. I can't think of any situations like that right now in Blackrock Foundry, but you know, there's got to be something. Another big one is that Insanity, which is a talent that a lot of people end up using for a lot of situations, particularly single target, is now also going to affect Mind Seers. So pretty much ever since Warlords came out, and probably before that, I didn't get super hardcore into Shadow Priest until Warlords, but probably before that, Shadow Priests have kind of been butts at AoE. Like, if we're clearing trash and there's about 10 things in front of me, almost everybody in my raid is going to make me look like hot garbage. So this is actually a really neat change, because Insanity, of course, buffs your mind flay damage by a lot. I don't know the number, but it's a lot. So having the option to apply that to Mind Seer gives you a huge buff for situations when you need to be AoEing large amounts of creatures. I don't know if it's going to be worth speccing into specifically for that, because, of course, to take Insanity, you need to not take Surge of Darkness, and Surge of Darkness is often considered a better choice when you have a lot of targets, because having dots running on a lot of targets, much like it may end up giving you Auspicious Spirits, is probably going to give you Surge of Darkness procs too. So we'll see how that works out, but at least for clearing trash, I'm very excited about having another option for AoE, because, you know, I'll still channel Mind Seer if there's enough stuff in front of me, but it just feels like I'm kind of bathing them in purple bubbles that doesn't really bother them that much, so that's something. Mindbender is being buffed a little bit. It's going to last for 20 seconds instead of 15, so this is a buff for us, obviously, if you've decided to use Mindbender instead of Insanity or Surge of Darkness. I feel like it's on that tier of talents. I haven't looked, but I feel like that's where it is. If you end up using Mindbender, and it's not a worst choice damage-wise, usually you'll want to be in one of the other talents, but if you're having difficulty managing Surge of Darkness procs, for example, or there's a lot of movement in the fight, Mindbender's not a bad choice. It's going to be lasting for 20 seconds instead of 15 seconds, and the cooldown is not changing, so that's just more flat uptime on Mindbender. Good for us, also good for Healing Priests, who, like me, do not yet have enough spirit, and your regen's not quite where you want it to be. You may have spec'd into Mindbender. You'll get 5 more seconds of the Mindbender attacking the thing and giving you back mana, so that's also good. Plus, Halo, it is not changing in damage, which is good, because, you know, it's fine. It does good. It is always going to be the thing that makes me pull mobs when we're doing trash. Halo is now going to display an indicator on the ground to make it easier for the casting priest to see where the ability is most effective. I haven't checked this out on the PTR yet. I should actually go look at that this afternoon. I really hope this is some kind of thing that you can see before you cast it, so you know whether or not you're accidentally going to Halo pull mobs. But at the very least, it's going to give you a good idea of where you should stand to get the most damage out of your Halo, because something a lot of people forget about Halo is it's going to do more damage the farther away from you it gets. So enemies that are at the very end of its range but not quite out of it are going to be hit the hardest. So being able to see exactly where it's most effective is obviously going to be super useful for getting the most out of it, because I just pretty much hit it on cooldown. Just because. So this will help. Surge of Darkness now has a 12% chance to trigger, up from 10%, so that's good news. Surge of Darkness is one of the better talents for a lot of these multi-target fights in Black Ark Foundry, so that is just a flat buff. It's not a huge buff, but it'll help. And then the last two buffs are kind of PvP related. Void Tendrils health has been increased by 30%. I know Void Tendrils got nerfed a whole bunch when Warlords came out, so this is kind of a bit of a rollback on that. They're getting buffed up a little bit, so they should live a little bit longer. Having not PvP'd too much myself just yet in Warlords, on my Shadow Priest at least, I don't know how much this is going to change things as to whether or not you're actually going to want to go into Void Tendrils, especially because Psychic Scream now has a 30-second cooldown down from 45 seconds, and Psychic Stream is... Psychic Stream. It's like a little river, except that it terrifies you. Psychic Scream is on the same tier as Void Tendrils, and having it on a 30-second cooldown sounds real good. It sounds much better than having some beefy Void Tendrils, so all good news. Those are the Shadow Priest changes. I may still do a video, which is basically going to be me seeing exactly what I just said, except with footage of the abilities, and then I'll probably, like, slap the tooltips on top of it so people can pause and read about them if I've misspoken, which happens. And that is that. That has been my week. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you're looking forward to. I know a lot of people are disappointed with 6.1, but if there's anything you're looking forward to, let me know. I want to get at least a little bit hyped about this. And I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful day. Bye!